Warning, this video contains team selection and captain choices which some viewers may find offensive.
Hey guys, and welcome back to FPL TV. Before looking to Game Week 4, let's see how the team performed in the previous game week. In defence, it was a memorable game week for the premium defenders, but for all the wrong reasons, with an abysmal 2 points between Cancelo, Reece James, Trent and Robertson. Of course, there's always going to be game weeks like this from premium defenders, so I can't expect points from them every game week. The hope is simply that they do the business over the longer term. In the opening 3 game weeks, both Cancelo and Reece James have done their part, but the double Liverpool defence, however, has been hugely underwhelming and concerning, returning just 4 points each over 3 game weeks. I never anticipated such a low score from these two to begin this season, especially given their opening fixtures. As mentioned last time, I made lots of sacrifices in my team in order to accommodate Robertson, and it's fair to say that that's been a huge failure so far, contributing towards a very poor start to my FPL season. One of those sacrifices was opting for the double Leicester goalkeepers, and well, that couldn't have gone much worse either. Just 3 points in 3 games from Ward, made worse considering that plenty of the 4.5 million goalkeepers have scored significantly higher. Another reason for opting for the 2 Leicester goalkeepers was to also keep hold of an 8 million midfielder slot in my side, and sadly Mason Mount filled that slot and has still failed to return this season. Both Mount and Robertson were 2 of my biggest differentials to begin this season, so for both of them to have started this poorly has been incredibly frustrating. Both of them still have excellent fixtures coming up too, making it all the more difficult to move them on. Elsewhere in my side, there was also a debut blank for my free transfer in last week of Leicester's Dewsbury Hall. In FPL, I'm my biggest critic and always first to hold my hands up when I make a mistake. And I have to admit that making that free transfer last week of Bailey to Dewsbury Hall definitely feels like one. It's not so much about Bailey, the fact he started and returned, that I can live with. It's more the fact that free transfers in general are so precious in this game, and that move that I made last week just feels so unnecessary for a player that I'm not even fully convinced about owning. Was there anything to suggest that spending 5 million on Dewsbury Hall was needed when I already had Andreas at 4.5 million sat on my bench? Not at all. Wasted money, a wasted transfer, and ultimately with Andreas returning last week, wasted points as well. Despite playing this game for many years now, here I fell into that rookie mistake of seeing Leon Bailey close to a price drop and then panicking to find a replacement. It was late at night and I pressured myself into making a rush transfer so as not to lose value, and I'd have been so much better off simply doing nothing and reassessing this week with 2 free transfers. So the fact I fell into that trap is what I'm so disappointed about. There were a few small returns within my side last week, with Haaland, Jesus and Martinelli all getting something, but unlike Mount and Robertson, these 3 are significantly highly owned. So with the template being so strong, points from these 3 don't really have an impact on my team's progress and can't really be celebrated. Last week was also a tough captaincy call between Jesus, Haaland and Mo Salah, so I guess the small positive last week was getting that correct at least, with the Egyptian adding to his already impressive record against United. His 8 points, my highest score of the game week. So for game week 3, nothing short of a disastrous week really, with a lowly 39 points and a significant drop in the rankings, dropping 1.3 million places down to 4 million. I never imagined the team I picked at the start of the season to be doing quite this badly after 3 weeks. However, at the same time, I do feel that in just those 3 game weeks I've already made plenty of mistakes. Mistakes that I'm really going to have to cut out if I am to climb up the rankings, especially with the game being the most competitive it's ever been. FPL is as much of a psychological battle with oneself as it is a competition with other managers, and I have to admit that earlier this week, this game week was a very tough one to take. It's so easy in this game to beat yourself up and get down on yourself for bad decisions, and then you start to question yourself, your entire team, your thought process, and I'm certainly a culprit of all those things. The challenge for me now is to try and not take this 4 million ranking too seriously at this point. It's easy to look at that and panic, but I've got to remind myself there's still so many game weeks to go. Am I happy with how the season's gone so far? Well, far from it. But the only thing I can do now is simply try and relish the challenge in front of me, and importantly, not go into full tilt mode. The season has still only just begun. So, with a renewal of perspective, and with still plenty of time left to go in this bastard of a game that we all love, let's look towards game week 4 now, and with no transfers made yet to my side, let's see how the team currently lines up. Also, if you are enjoying this video, then please don't forget to leave a like and most importantly get subscribed to FPL TV. You can also hit the notification bell so you always know when a new video goes live. As mentioned, after a few bad opening weeks, it's important not to go full tilt and start ripping this team apart just yet. Of course, my current team is by no means perfect, and that's down to a few early mistakes I've made, wasting my transfers in the opening 3 weeks means I'm less flexible to fix other pressing issues in my team. However, looking at my team on paper this week as a whole, overall I'm not really convinced the wildcard is warranted just yet. And apart from my Leicester goalkeeper of course, the team looks decent enough for Game Week 4 I think. Following 3 very poor opening game weeks from both Robertson and Mount, there's certainly temptation there to replace them. But both their fixtures are so good this week, I'm not sure right now is the best time to make the move. If I had 2 free transfers available, I think then I could see more merit in selling one of Mount or Robertson this week, because then it would become a case of what points I can gain by making an upgrade elsewhere as well, like then upgrading my goalkeeper for example. But seeing as though I have just 1 free transfer, simply switching Robertson to the likes of Perisic, Trippier or Zinchenko can come later I think. I don't think I need to do it this week when he has Bournemouth at home. As for Mason Mount, well, replacing him has been the most appealing, with the likes of Rodrigo and Wilfried Zaha both looking superb and cheaper alternatives. However, Rodrigo is away to Brighton this week and Zaha away to Man City, so is it really worth therefore selling Mount for one of those this game week when he faces Leicester at home, arguably the league's worst defence from the opening 3 games? Leicester have conceded 8 goals in the 3 games so far, the most of any team, and have also conceded the most big chances with 10, so I'm leaning more towards giving Mason Mount at least one more chance in my side. As mentioned, by downgrading Robertson or Mount, I'd then have money in the bank to upgrade Ward in goal, but then we're talking about a -4 hit this week and I'm not sure I can see merit in that. I think I'm going to grind out one more game week, roll the free transfer despite the team not being perfect, and then try to fix some of these problems in Game Week 5. I'm not 100% certain on rolling the free transfer this week, but that's what I'm pretty set on doing for those reasons. The one big concern I do have with rolling the free transfer though, is the possibility that either Robertson or Mount could get benched this game week due to their poor form, especially considering that all teams play again during midweek as well, so rotation could also be looming. That's my big worry when it comes to holding them this week. If they're both to start, then I'm more than happy to hold them for these good Game Week 4 fixtures. But if for any reason there's hints that either will get rotated, at that point I may have to make a move. Rodrigo likely being my preferred Mount replacement, and Perisic probably my favourite to replace Robertson. As for Ward in goal, well, my preferred option here would be Brighton's Sanchez at this point. I'm just not sure it's worth a hit to bring him in this game week, so maybe that can wait. It's also worth noting that during the Cup in midweek, Iverson managed a clean sheet and saved 3 penalties during a shootout for Leicester. So it'll be interesting to see who gets the nod for the Foxes in Game Week 4, because Ward has been far from convincing so far. On my bench, it's Dewsbury Hall who currently sits as first spot, with me starting Andreas Pereira in front of him as things stand. In fairness, neither are ideal this week, facing both Chelsea and Arsenal away, but I just feel that Andreas has more routes to points, playing further forward and on set pieces etc. His expected goals and assists are also higher from the opening 3 game weeks, hence my regret to have brought in Dewsbury Hall in the first place, just a pointless move really. Arsenal have been a lot more defensively solid in contrast to Chelsea though, so perhaps some justification there to give Dewsbury Hall another chance in my 11, which I'll weigh up before the deadline. For the captaincy in Game Week 4, of course the same 3 options from last week all have their appeal. Haaland, Jesus and Salah, all solid options. For now though, the armband does sit with Mo Salah once again, as it has all week so far, with Liverpool boasting a nice home fixture against a Bournemouth side who have just shipped 7 goals in their previous 2 games. A difficult game to ignore. I do expect the armband to stay with Mo Salah come the deadline. However, as we draw closer to it, I am slightly warming towards the idea of a Haaland captaincy instead, which I haven't ruled out. Of course, on paper, I prefer the Bournemouth fixture, there's no doubting that, and Palace have looked a tricky outfit to play so far. But looking at the underlying data, Haaland is way ahead of Mo Salah in terms of big chances from the opening 3 games, with Haaland already soaking up 7 big chances while Salah has conjured up just 2. Haaland's expected goals also sits at 3.3, while Salah's is a lowly 1.2. Liverpool just haven't quite looked at it so far, and Salah hasn't been getting the service that Haaland has. It also came as a big surprise to me to see that in the opening 3 games, no team has conceded more shots inside the box than Crystal Palace with 35, which could bode very well for Haaland. Despite Liverpool not playing well so far though, Salah has still managed to rack up 2 goals and an assist even when they're not at their best. So I guess the fear here is that should we get a reaction and an improved performance against Bournemouth, well we all know what Mo Salah is capable of. A tough call to go against Mo Salah here, but certainly some justification to do so, and something I haven't yet ruled out completely. So that's all my team thoughts from the fallout of Game Week 3 and heading into this weekend's Game Week 4. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if so, please do get subscribed to FPL TV. You can also hit the notification bell so you always know when a new video goes live. Still, lots to be weighed up over the next few days, so if you are keen to see the final locked-in team transfers and captaincy, then I'll put that over on Twitter shortly before the game week deadline hits. Good luck to you all for Game Week 4, FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all in the next video.